Hey PACURH, this is Maggie from your bidding task force this year, and I just wanted to give you a quick tutorial about how to kind of get started writing whatever bid you're working on. So if you haven't seen Mariah's tutorial talking about Canva, I would really encourage you to go and watch that because we're going to be using some of those um, resources to work on the bid here. So the bid we're going to work on today is the regional mascot of the year. And of course, that's Jeremiah T. Frog, obviously. And so we're just going to get started working in Google Documents. So the reason why I personally like using Canva as well as Google Slides is that in Google Slides you have a lot of control over like where pictures go and where text goes and how that text is formatted. And so we're just going to get started. So right off the bat, one thing that you want to change about the standard Google Slides layout is the orientation. Bids, according to the PACURH governing documents, are supposed to be 8.5 by 11 pages, or like size pages. So in order to change this format, you're going to go to File, and then Page Setup, and then Custom, and then you're just going to insert your dimensions here. You can change it from inches to anything else, but it's way easier to just do 8.5 by 11 inches. And then that changes your whole kind of setup. So usually what I like to do is I like to make my cover pages in Canva and then move them over as like image files. So I would direct you back to Mariah's video about how to work with Canva. So let's just say that we already made a title page. And these can be any font, any size. They're not part of your page count. And so we'll just go like that. And we'll say that you already made your title page. All right, so next can be your first page or your table of contents, depending on what bid you're making and how you want to format it. But let's say we already made the table of contents and stuff like that. So I'm just going to get straight into how to design like kind of the main body page of your bid. So you can always keep the white background or add like cute cartoons, but what I like to do is I like to make the backgrounds in Canva itself. And so I just went through and I made this quick background that would look much nicer made in Canva rather than Google Slides. So again, go watch Mariah's video to learn how to make something like this. And then what I do is I just go into Insert Image because I downloaded my Canva background as an image, and then oh my gosh, and then go to Upload from Computer. And so you're going to be able to see your different directories, and then just go to where you downloaded that file and click open. And then that opens the image that you downloaded for you. So now, instead of like a boring white background, I have a nice pretty Canva background, which is a really nice kind of base to work off of. So a couple of tips that I have for writing bids is that you probably will want to put a header on each page to let people know kind of what they're reading, because in these like 8 to 20 page bids, it can be really easy to lose track of what you're doing. So let's say, for example, this body page is about Jeremiah. And the cool thing about the headers for each page is that they don't follow the 10 to 12 point font limit. And so you can make this any size you want. So let's make this nice and easy to read. Let's say like 30, let's do 48. And then something that I like to do is I like to make everything very symmetrical and kind of straight down the middle. So you can go here, click middle, and it'll go right to the middle. And this font is kind of boring and a little bit hard to read, so let's go and change the color. So you can go to this over here, change it to white, and then you have all of these fonts to choose from. When you're writing your bid, I would suggest that you look for a font that will be dyslexia friendly and pretty easy to read, just so people's eyes don't get tired or anything like that. So as we're scrolling through, just kind of looking at what different fonts would look nice, but also be easy to read. A really good one to go with is Montserrat. I really like using that one. You can also bold it to make it a little bit easier to read, but there you have your header. And so now we can get into kind of the body of it. So what is a really good idea to do is add lots of pictures and stuff like that. And so I'm going to grab some pictures from my computer that I got. Ooh. And I like to just kind of grab all of them at once so that I can kind of pick and choose which pictures I want to put in. So on this page, I want to talk about what he likes, what he likes doing in PACURH. And so I want pictures to represent that. So let's say that I've written up a little blurb about Jeremiah, and he's like really likes the region, so he likes being involved in boardroom and stuff like that. So I can just copy paste that from a document already into my slides. So then we can change it to whatever font we want. I'm going to switch it up and do Avenir. And then the main body text of your bid has to be 10 to 12 point font. And I usually like doing 12 point just to make it as big as possible. And then I'm going to change this to white and then bold it so it's easier to read. So you would think that bolding things makes things easier to read, but sometimes it doesn't. So though I like this font, I want to change it to something a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker so that it's much easier to read. So I can go like Montserrat like black, and that's like super thick. And so I can just put that to the side, and then I can insert like a cute picture like boardroom, woo. And then something I always like to do is I like to add captions. So I just like Control C, Control V. And so now it's the same size and font. And so you can just go above. And then you can say Jeremiah T. Frog working or playing in boardroom. So that just gives a little short description so people know what's going on in the picture that you're putting up there. So next, if you want to do a table of contents, what a lot of things that I like to do involve tables. They're really easy to format. And so I usually like doing 2 columns so that you can have the description and then the page number that it's on, and then however many sections there are, you can kind of customize that. Oh, that's a lot, so I'm going to redo that. So I'm just going to do, it turns out it's a 1-page bid. The mascot of the year bid. So let's just do we'll say first page is the About Jeremiah page. And then we'll say it's on page 1. And then you can move it to any place kind of inside this table in each cell. And so what I like to do is I like to have the description on the leftmost side and then the page number on the rightmost side. So you can just go like that. And then move this over. And then here we can do like letter of recommendation. And that'll be page 2 or so. And move it over. And then, of course, one of the great things about Google Slides is they have a spelling correction tool, which I really like as a bad speller myself. And so if we look here, it says it's size 14, but we want it to be between 10 and 12. And so we'll just change that to 12. Change this to a very thick font to make it easy to read. And now you have a table of contents. Another cool thing that you can do is if you don't want any, if you look closely, you can kind of see lines delineating each of the cells. So what you can do is you can just make those transparent with this little tool here. And then, yeah. So usually you'll want to have the table of contents on a separate page, but just to save time, I just made a small one here. And then something that we also want to keep in mind is that you always want page numbers. You don't have to have one on your title page, but you have to have one on every single one following that. So to do that, you just do another text box, and then to get the same font, you can just copy paste one of your other text box. And then the placing of it is really all up to you. So you can put it in the bottom left corner, the bottom right corner, or even the center. And so, here we go. I don't know where the, oops. There we go. Okay, so you can put it in the bottom right center, or the bottom left center, or anything like that. So you can just put it there. And this also has to be between 10 and 12 point font. So keep that in mind. So let's just say, let's add in one more cute picture. Jeremiah Nauman on some cupcakes. Put that there. And then it's also really good to put like testimonials and stuff. So this basically just means you could put, it's good to put like quotes from other people about the topic you're writing about. So let's say that we want a good quote about Jeremiah from one of the NCCs or something like that. Then we can just copy paste this text box again to get so that we don't have to reset up the same font and stuff. And then you could say Jeremiah is awesome, or something along those lines. And then you could or you could not put who wrote it. So let's just say Maggie Thompson, UONCC. One thing to keep in mind for testimonials or really anything else like that is that regional board of director members cannot help with bids. So for example, I wouldn't be able to put a quote from Mariah in this bid. Even if she loves Jeremiah, that would be kind of RBD members kind of interfering with the bidding process, which is not kind of what the bidding process is designed for. So just keeping that in mind as a really important point. So this obviously is a very rough outline of what a final bid would look like, but this is kind of some of the essential elements that you want to keep in mind while writing a bid. You know, pictures, description of the picture, main body text, testimonials, your table of contents, and your page numbers. And so, yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. I really encourage you all to email Mariah if you have any questions. about bidding or about these videos. I'd also be happy to answer any questions. But yeah, have an awesome day.